The clock is ticking on the legislative session. I spoke with eCapitol News Director Shawn Ashley about what's left for lawmakers at the Capitol. Shawn, other than the museum bills, what did the legislature do this week?
Well, it wasn't so much what the legislature did. They've actually kind of been slowing down, having sent more than 300 bills to the governor to act on. Instead, what we saw over the last week really was more governor's action, and what we saw from her was a couple of important vetoes. First of all, she vetoed Senate Bill 41. This was a bill that imposed some limits on where private entities could limit when guns could be carried on certain property. The governor vetoed the bill not because of what the bill did, but because of what's happening down in Cleveland County. There's an ongoing court case involving this. The Oklahoma Constitution says that legislation cannot be enacted that would have an impact on a court case, and that was the reason she cited for vetoing the bill. However, within the legislature itself, it looks like some members may this next week attempt to override that veto. It's yet to be seen, but there has been some vote counting going on, we hear, and they may make a run at that bill. The governor also vetoed another interesting piece of legislation that sort of shows how many of our laws are intertwined, and that was Senate Bill 549. What this did was decouple the relationship between statewide elected official salaries and those of our appellate judges and set statewide elected official salaries in statute. The governor would have been paid a little over $147,000, which is the current governor's salary. However, at the same time, another bill is working its way through the legislature that would give appellate judges a raise. So with this bill that decouples that relationship vetoed, if that other bill passes, Governor Fallin's successor would receive a raise and see their pay increase.
The session is moving along somewhat quietly, and there's not a lot left to do.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. As I said this last week, the legislature considered very few bills on the floor and not that many in committee. But when you look at what's happened, the governor has signed or vetoed close to 340 pieces of legislation. Over the last several years, on average, a governor signs about 400 pieces of legislation. So we're getting very close to the end, both in terms of the number of days. They'll either get out the 22nd or the 29th, most likely the 22nd, and in the total number of bills that need to be considered.
Do you expect them to adjourn on the 22nd?
I expect that they'll adjourn on the 22nd. Historically, the legislature has not liked to come back after the Memorial Day weekend, which falls on Monday, May 25th, so the 22nd is that Friday. They may even get out before that. We'll just have to wait and see.
eCapitol News Director Shawn Ashley, thank you.
You're very welcome.